representing polarity, iller than ever before. Polarity, that's the universal law.
You know Phoenix set it off right. Haters mad they can't copy the archetype. Awesome light that's glowing out my avatar. MCs rather spar, get sabotaged. Our destiny was written in the ethers. That's why we make shit look seamless. Gotta resurrect the people when they fall behind. Can't carry a leader, I'm a cardinal sign. Two sides to the laws of attraction. There's an equal and an opposite reaction. We represent all signs, no slacking. From Leo love to Aquarius detachment. Top renegades, lyrical assassins. Y'all not made of the same type fabric. We here to ascend. God in human skin. In the game of life, baby, all we do is win.
Bullseye till I Scorpio, I'ma shoot again. Word killer, that's Gemini, getting the eighth verbal. Edibles that can get him high with a taste. We all satisfied, we really just getting by on the plate. Wow, that's a planet without an end. Getting my infinite plane, I spin around it again. Liquid fire is spilling out of my pen. We overturning this ending how it begins. Handcrafted Ouroboros, leather boots on the ground grass. Horacefield, audible meals, this made it sound grass. I drift off like the smoke from the barrel of shaft. The principal with such class, I balance the staff. Too late to sip a rewind from the hourglass. I calculated each step even without math. Screw the lightning bolts in the sky. I rush the clouds crash. Thought wheels spin in the sky even without sun. Sun,
Dark,
light,
dark,
high,
low,
low, day,
night,
sun,
left,
right,
ebb, flow,
as above,
so below, so below. We on a mission to slay the enemy totally. Bars is deadly, weaponized poetry. I'm held up in high esteem with respect. Soars the pinnacles of every queen in the deck. What? You ain't never seen God in the flesh? Can't duplicate the qualities that we possess. We gon' make them all bow down and confess. You in 3D, we playing 5D chess.
You know the league's best, don't you see the finesse? The plan is planning everything, no needing to guess. We just kicking the door in, we don't need a request. Uranus, the one-man SWAT team, kaboomerang, spun the block, got it made, wiping all your clocks clean. It's our time, speaking crystals in the watch screen. The stars line, they admitted we the top team. We manifested every vision, these are not dreams.
Beams from the sun shine like a Leo. Aquarius, the opposite, that's the people. Capricorns on the rise straight through the ceiling. All my Cancer crabs in touch with their feelings.
Every season from the top when you elevate. And Libra keep the scales on me like I'm selling weight. Big hip to the stars, now that's a starship. Back to back hits, I ain't never seen the arms miss.
Go to war like an Aries if you bring beef. Or like a Libra, we can negotiate peace.
For my Sag archers, Gemini thinkers, Leo on the stage, Aquarian change bringers.
Gemini, that's the twins, yeah, cause it's two. Sag hopping on flights, then schooling you.
This for Scorpios, killing them with my Taurus bulls. Virgos working they shift, Piscean orbital. Sun,
dark,
light,
high, low,
day,
night,
sun,
left,
ebb,
flow,
as above,
so below.
This polarity the whole thing. Ain't no fall without spring. For every head there's a tail. Keep on balancing the scale. World over. Ty Phoenix. Zodiac.
Peace. Good evening. It is your sister with MaWu Lisa Temple in the beautiful upstate New York, Hudson Valley, coming to you from the Healing Chamber. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's the God Hour. I figured what hour better to do this at the God Hour on Do the Knowledge Radio where knowledge is born. So thank you so much for joining me. For those of you who know, MaWu Lisa Temple has been working here in the Hudson Valley since about 2012. We started doing classes for larger groups around 2014. And so we've been around for a little while, and we've been able to, in the health and wellness space, be able to provide education and workshops for those interested in knowing a little bit more about not only what's going on in the world in health, but what's going on in the world inside them. So let me just say what this is not a space to diagnose or to offer any medical advice. What you can look at it as a space for research. So when you hear us, myself or some of my guests that will be coming on later on in the series, um, when you hear us talk about things, this is to encourage you to go and research on your own. As you know, you always talk to your primary care physicians about any changes you're making in your health regimen, and this is no different. Now, they may look at you a little funny because when you tell them, you know, you want to bring some crystals and gems into your healing regimen, you might get some funny looks, but you'd be surprised. More of them are aware of the alternative methods of healing, which are truly just ancient healing techniques of our ancestors. Again, I thank you for being here with me tonight. Like I said, I am in upstate New York at this time. It is still cold, and we have these moments of warm, and I was just thinking about my mother saying this is pneumonia weather, and you know, you'd be so surprised how many people um, don't know this, that you can't just pull your clothes off. But you know what, there are some who are able to do this. And who are these people? These are the people with a great immune system. And I think, you know, that was what I wanted to start with in this first installment, was that uh, in the past few years, we've seen a lot. Um, it's not like in the health and wellness and healing community, we hadn't seen a whole lot of things go on over the years, but it was nothing to this scale or the scale that it appeared to be. And people were really, really scared. I can just say, as a health and wellness educator over 20 plus years, um, I have never seen so many people take interest at one time in their health and wellness. You got people um, growing food, you know, learning about water filtration, learning about herbs and, you know, touch therapy, sound therapy, color therapy, art therapy. And so, and then you got the old fashioned massage therapy, reflexology, acupuncture, acupressure, all of these different things. And I've never seen a time like this. And it's such a wonderful time to be alive. And if you are a person dealing with chronic illness or chronic disease, um, this is a time where either you're going to step outside your box or you're just going to accept what the doctors say. Now, this is not an anti-doctor rant space. I want to be clear about that. But what this is just an opportunity to share some of the things that I've experienced professionally and privately, dealing with chronic illness and chronic disease, and even working in the hospice spaces with people who had been dealing with those issues, not just the person who was ascending, but also their families and what it meant for them to be dealing with someone with chronic illness and chronic disease. You know, under this does fall anxiety and mental health issues, because those are diseases, those are illnesses. So we'll even be talking about some of that. I have a great young lady who started a podcast about 2 years ago who does mental health topics. And so at some point, I would love to bring her on and have her share with you some of the experiences she's been through. And not only that, what she's doing now to take her life story and help other people. So, a little bit about why MaWu Lisa Temple was founded. We founded MaWu Lisa Temple with the understanding that we always wanted to grow. Okay, it was just like we could lay out the things for the things for the things, wanting a whole town of our own and all that good stuff. But we realized realistically that we had to start where we were, and that was right in our communities. There was an influx in this time. This was like, the conception started with my fitness company that I had, Kaya Fitness, and when I was in Newark, New Jersey, and we started, MaWu Lisa Temple. Really, in that space, we realized that while Kaya Fitness was helping the community, we had nobody to help the healers, all the yoga teachers, all the Pilates teachers, all the massage therapists. It was like they had nowhere to go. You would have little clusters of groups of people that hung together because they worked in the same gym or in the same neighborhood. But for the most part, you didn't have a real community. You didn't have real unity amongst the healing community in the area where I was at. And I knew that this didn't have to be, because I saw that these other groups of people were coming together in spaces and using those spaces not only to hone their skills with each other, but to have a place to decompress. Most people in the healing spaces, be it nurses, doctors, any kind of practitioner, acupuncture, acupressure, any of these practitioners, massage therapists especially, they have to have someone to go to, because it's but so much you can pour out without needing someone to pour in. And I am an example of somebody who can tell you their story that I had to learn that the hard way. But I mean, I learned a lot of my lessons the hard way. But that was one of them too. And that's part of why MaWu Lisa Temple was formed, because we wanted to do retreats for healers. And, we were in a lower income area. So we knew people couldn't pay $2,000, $3,000 to go on a retreat and be gone for a week and all these things. So we found ways to do impactful workshops on Friday nights or Saturdays, and sometimes even Sunday afternoons. And so that was how we started. And when I came to New York via North Carolina, I established that space where we became respected for the retreats that we were able to put together eventually, and also for the workshops we continue to do in the community without any charge to the community at large. Okay, so what I'd like to do right now is just share with you a quote that you'll hear often, a proverb that you'll hear often as we move through this series. And there's probably a number of interpretations and also even ways this proverb is used, but it's, he who conceals his illness can never expect to be cured. In our communities, we do not talk about things. We talk about people. Oh, did you hear so-and-so got the sugar or whatever it is? But for the most part, we don't talk about things because, one, a lot of times we have a hard time accepting what's going on with ourselves if we went and found out at all. Most people would rather not know. And this is something we have to change, because even if it's just your local massage therapist or the person, even who does your hair, because we don't, the barbershop and the salon, I'll let you know, they know the things that are going on. So even if it's one of these people that can recommend a space for people to go to heal, this is ideal. with MaWu Lisa Temple taking these healers into our spaces, we are allowing them the time to get the same thing that they give out. But many times as healers, we don't want to talk about what's going on with us. People that know me know that I'm rather transparent when it comes to my life. Not always because I wanted to be, but because people nosy and they know your life anyway. So you might as well tell the truth, right? But I remember when I started dealing with some really serious health issues. And I was kind of still fresh, new into the healing spaces. I was teaching yoga at like 4 gyms. I was living my best life. I was loving it, and I got like really sick, like crazy sick, like on your deathbed sick. And I had somebody say to me, well, if you're so good at healing all that stuff, why don't you heal yourself? I took that. That was like arrows to the chest. That was just like all my ego, all my everything felt all of that. And I felt like you're a practitioner as well. You know that we deal with things too. This is what helps make us better, But yeah, I took that really, really hard. And I found after that, even after I got better and I went back to working with people one-on-one, small groups and all these things, a part of me still felt like, am I a fraud? Because I keep having these health issues that I can't seem to get rid of, but I'm out here helping other people. And so it makes you start to feel like you can't even tell anybody what you're going through, because at some level you're going to be judged because you can't do for them what you claim to do for others. What I want to say is that I've never claimed to heal anybody, but what I can say is that the things that I've shared with them has helped to facilitate the natural healing that their creator put inside them. Okay. And much like everything else, things have, determining factors, your DNA, what was your lifestyle, all, what are you willing to change? What things are you holding on to? And most people don't talk about these things. We have healers walking around here doing trauma release therapy, and they ain't had their own trauma released. They still walking around with trauma. I had a good friend say to me one time, these new people come into the science and they think after 3 or 4 years they healed and they this, that, and the other. He said, I'm not doubting that they have some level of healing, but if you was in a situation for 25 years, you think you only gonna be over it, in a couple of years or a year, you done read a couple of books and now you done. No. This is where a unity space is needed. This is where people are coming together and they are saying that, listen, we all doing this work, but we all still learning. We got people that journey, and so we need to be talking. Conversations that we don't want to talk about. I think some of the hardest conversations are the ones where you initially have to share information, and some people don't know how to do that. And one of your clients may ask you for that information. Hey, how did you? They might. Can you help me find a way to tell my family what's going on with me? The doctors have said what the doctors have said, but I kind of want to let them know that I'm still seeking other alternatives. See, that was another thing with my particular situation and my constant desire and need to be able to provide a space for healers, is that I didn't have the support in the healing community, so I started listening to the doctors. Oh, this don't look so good and that don't look so good, and they start putting an expiration date on you and you start believing it. We have bunches of people walking around with like that chronic illness, chronic diseases. This is their life. Bags of medication, all kinds of organs failing, trying to fix one thing and something else going wrong. These people need a space to hear other people's stories and to share their own. Not so we can diagnose or say, oh, well, but no, so we can know we are not alone. And guess what? The one monkey don't stop the show. Just because you got something going on with your health, it does not stop the show. And the moment you accept that, the show will stop. You have to fight like you've never fought before. And that means sometimes trying techniques that you wouldn't have tried before. Like biting. You know what I'm saying? If you boxing and you fighting, no slide. But nonetheless, I am very, very glad to be bringing this series to you. And, monthly we'll have a theme. The month of June, I'm really excited about because it is about communication and learning how to not only talk about the things that are going on with our health, but learn how to articulate our needs at the times we are going through health issues. There are some people who don't have anybody to talk to about what's going on with their health, and we need people for them as well. So again, providing spaces that are safe to talk. What we are talking about in this general space, there will be private spaces to talk about things, and also obviously spaces for practitioners to work together. And so I'm calling on all my practitioners, call your friends and call your friends and call your friends, because this is for us, but it's also for those who will be using our services, because they'll know that we are still working on ourselves too. So with that being said, I would like to take a little break right now and come back to you and tell you a little bit more about some of the topics we'll be talking about in the upcoming weeks. So peace to you. Thank you for being here with me, and I'll see you in a few minutes.
belongs to those who have free minds. Those who can see behind the veil of illusion, know the truth, and can stand on it.
My pro-black, really pro-black, anti-hip-hop dress code. That's no cap, no vax. My white cells assassinate any kind of virus, get chewed up, masticate. My immunity's indestructible. I'm a pillar of my community, no deductible. General Tucson leading the revolution. To black problems, we are the only fucking solution. No outsiders, no white saviors, we gatekeeping. I keep trying to wake them up cause they stay sleeping. Chooks is armed with ancestral wisdom, so I don't trust people that still trust the system. We gotta eat like Sebi, fight like Ali, think like Malcolm, migrate to Merca, Somali. I carry my own water, so I value every drop of it. Drowning at the bottom, so I swim up to the top of it.
If I say it, then I mean it. I'm never backing down. Only a few real ones left now. If it's truth, then I'ma stand on it. If it's justice, then I'ma stand on it. If I say it, then I mean it. I'll never take it back. And if you ever hear me say it, then it's facts. That's my word, and I'ma stand on it. What you heard, I'ma stand on it. Yeah. What happened to principles, character, fortitude? Healing through alchemy, magic is what I'm born to do. Time to purge the planet from human toxicity. People do any and everything for publicity. It's way out of control, destructive, they weak and careless. We either stand for what is right or else the people perish. Putting these devils in a panic, now we got them frantic. The righteousness of justice is poetic, Pac and Janet. You don't know lies from truth when you wearing blinders. Wisdom separates the strong people from the spineless. They tell me to kill them with kindness, be considerate, but everybody's capping out here, nothing's legitimate. Nobody surrounded us everywhere, but the souls is missing. The enemy is always watching and the ops is listening. No wonder most of these people feeling defeated. The language of God is encoded and they can't read it. If I say it, then I mean it. I'm never backing down. Only a few real ones left now. If it's truth, then I'ma stand on it. If it's justice, then I'ma stand on it. If I say it, then I mean it. I'll never take it back. And if you ever hear me say it, then it's facts. That's my word, and I'ma stand on it. What you heard, I'ma stand on it. Rusty Jugs, Kai Phoenix, yeah.
Hey, peace. Thank you so much for being here again tonight with us. I'd like to just give a shout out to Knowledge Born Allah. The music choices are awesome. I am loving them because you know what? It is saying a lot of the messages, even in those little layers, excuse me, that are very relevant to what we are talking about. So let's jump back in. Again, this is MaWu Lisa Temple. We are sharing with you from our Healing Chambers series. We have just started this series this month of May. We're starting to talk about a little bit how each month had a theme, not necessarily something that we would be talking about all month, but at some point we would be able to share some resources about that particular aspect of healing and how it related to whoever's healing journey who is here sharing with us. So the month of June, like I said, was communication, but we can't jump through this whole month of May, right? So May, come on, what is May known for? Flowers and Mother's Day, right? So at some point this month, we will be talking about flower essences and how those things can play a part in healing and the learning process to learn more about what is going on with you. Before I started the natural path in medicine, I was very much on a traditional trajectory for medicine. And I was not really good with science in high school, but in college I really got into it. and I love pharmacology and things like that. So after my whole trying to do political science, that's a whole nother story. I tried to do nursing, and we had to take this pharmacology class, and one of the first things they taught us was that every medication had a botanical root. And I remember thinking to myself, even in that moment, well, why take the root and just mix it with all this other stuff? And why not just take the root directly? Why not just take the flower directly? And I knew after that that I wouldn't be doing that aspect of, or should I say, taking that tract of healing for myself and for my profession moving forward. So at some point we will be talking about flower essences. I will be saving herbs for later on in the year, most high willing, because that needs space all to itself, because botanical medicine, or should I say botanical therapy, flower essences is a very different practice than understanding the art of herbology. So, one of the other things we'll be talking about, because MaWu Lisa Temple does believe in a mind, body, spirit, soul experience for people, because we find that sometimes, when we go into the healing journey, we do superficial work. I love, again, in these past few years, how people have been digging into things, doing shadow work and trauma work and all these things. And all these things are very necessary. So the botanical, the flower essence, that is a physical thing, But one of the things we would love to talk about in this month is mothers. Our mothers and our health, the connection between our mothers, or the lack of connection, or whatever there is. But we're going to talk about mothers and health. And not just things like inherited things, but also our views about health begin with our parents, and most times, well, back when I was young, the mother was the one who was the primary home giver. So she was the one who was in charge of nutrition, and all types of other things, health practices that you learn at a young age. So we'll be talking about that, and also the very important emotional connection between our mothers and our health. Yeah. That one, I'll tell you, if I had to say that the world before my journey offered me anything, it let me know that mommy and daddy issues, they are real. Like, whether no matter what you call them, these things are real, because these things are part of the very makeup that is the vessel that you walk around in. I remember when my oldest son's wife was pregnant, I told him that I always wanted to do a study where you took a woman from conception, as early as part of conception as you could, up until the child was a certain age, documenting everything. See, I'm a researcher. I love research, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about research and how you can get involved and help with some of the research that we do, because we do independent research. We don't wait on nobody to tell us what was really good. So anyway, I'm telling him how I want to do this study, and the purpose of the study, in my vision of why I was doing it, was because I realized that each one of my pregnancies, I was going through these different things, and I wanted to see how the emotions in the thinking of the mothers during the time, the different stages of pregnancy, how this was affecting the child. And in essence, how it affected the child after they were born. See, I'm a nerd. Just want to know stuff. But anyway, talking about mothers this month, talking about flower essences, and those last two um, uh, spaces that we'll have. I think that what I'd like to do in that space is allow you to participate. And see, that's what I said, I was going to give you an opportunity to volunteer, right? So I keep my word. So we have an independent study coming up. And I want to say that it is just a questionnaire that you would fill out. You could leave it anonymous, or you could put your name in. And that's where this next part comes in, because if you put your name in and you put your information in and you click the little box that says you are willing to be a guest in the healing chamber, guess what? You'll be a guest in the healing chamber, and you'll be able to talk about some of the things that we covered earlier in the month. So what does this mean? This means that you're going to actually have to, everything we do, you're going to have to watch it. Because, I mean, how you going to talk about it if you ain't check out the video first? Or just be here live while we do it, okay? So, again, volunteer opportunity. You can work on this little questionnaire. It is rather, it's a little detailed, but it's worth it, because again, we are trying to do our first large scale independent study. And in doing that, while it may not be hundreds of numbers, the numbers that we are trying to reach are a bit more than we have attempted before. So I'm excited. We're challenging ourselves. And so what you can do is you can DM us at MaWu Lisa Temple 1 on Instagram. You can email us at mawulisatemple@gmail.com, and in the subject space, please put volunteer questionnaire. So with that being said, we're talking about questionnaires. I want to bring up something before we get out of here, because I'm not really going to have you here long tonight. Again, this was just an opportunity for me to share with you what would be coming up, most high willing. Okay. So one of the things I want to talk about are consoles. So like I said, we do not offer any medical advice. Okay. Or we don't claim to have any cures. But what we do have in the form of consultation is we have spaces where you are able to talk one-on-one or in small groups with people who are either going through the same thing you are going through, or who have clients who are going through the same thing, and sometimes even have spouses or children who are going through the same things. We need spaces where we can talk about health, and not always in a gigantic room. Sometimes we need small spaces. So we do provide those type of services, and one-on-one consultations and things like that are available. What I want to say is the first session will be about 90 minutes. Why 90 minutes? At one time in the healing space, back with our ancestors, when you were being talked to about anything that had to do with your health, they talked about everything. They asked you more questions than you could imagine. And that's something that, if you've dealt with doctors at all, in my lifetime, it's always been like this, but it's never been as walk in and walk out as these doctors do now. They walk in, they barely look you in your face. Okay? They barely look you in your face, and then they're on their way. Well, during the consultation with us, even though we are not offering any medical advice or diagnosis. We asked a lot of questions because sometimes just being asked the questions allows the person to think of things that they need to address within their own self. Again, listening to the previous offerings, you may hear something, let's say in flower essences, that now makes you want to ask your doctor about said thing. This is a space to encourage you to ask questions. This is a space to encourage you to do research. This is a space to encourage you to know thyself and heal thyself. Oh wow, did you hear a little bit of Jersey come out? I'm over here clapping. But anyway, it's also a space for us to relax and let down our hair when it comes to talking about our health. We are so uptight about it, as we should be sometimes, because some of the things these doctors say to us and their bedside manner being what it is, you walk out of there feeling hopeless. Many of our clients are coming to us feeling hopeless. They are looking to us to guide them in a direction towards their own personal journey. But somebody has to do that for the healers too, and MaWu Lisa Temple is here to do that for you. Gladly. Gladly. You know, they say that we try to give to the world what it is we want from the world. And I know I always wanted a community of people who could actually work together towards our greater good. I was just sharing with a friend that one of the very true statements that I hold on to is that if you want to really help the world, if you really want to make a difference in the world, if you really want to save the world, save yourself. Learn yourself, heal yourself. You will learn so much about the world just going within, learning about yourself, making yourself the best version of yourself, putting yourself on a trajectory towards the best you can be. That's what we do here. That's what we remind each other of. And the reminder benefits the believer. Okay? So, email us, MaWuLisaTemple@gmail.com. Hit us in the DMs on Instagram at MaWuLisaTemple1. Let us know how we can serve you. Let us know what topics you want to talk about. You know? Let us know about a healer or a technique that has helped you. Share your story, because somebody else just tried it too. It's nothing new under the sun, but they didn't try it like you did. Maybe you can give them something to inspire them, because we are here to inspire each other. Unity. I was asked if I could describe this first session in one word, and I struggled, because I was thinking of all the things, you know, you want to say all the things, but when it comes down to it, unity. I was seeking unity, so I provide spaces for unity, safe spaces where you don't have to worry about the information that you're sharing being used in a way, or the information that you're sharing being used in a way to later on shame you or either defame you. Because again, you will have people, you know, cruel enough to think that just because we are in these spaces, we don't need help too. You don't know everything. Trust me. And if you really knew, you don't know anything. But that's a story for another day. Right? So again, each month will have a theme. We do have a space on Clubhouse. It's called The Spot. We have not been in that space for a little bit, but you know what? All praise to the Most High. We are going up in that space with some of this talk. Some of this talk needs to be there too, because, I found that people go in there to vent about their health. And sometimes they talk to people who, are not quite sensitive to the fact that some of the decisions that you have to make during your health journey are not easy to do, especially if you don't have just someone to talk to. Sometimes you need somebody who don't know anything about you, don't know anything about you. Sometimes the more people know about you, the more biased they are, especially most of us who are known to be strong. People don't even ask us how we doing. They don't even, you could break your leg, they'd be like, oh, she'll put it back together. You know what I mean? So we don't have anybody to just, say, hey, how you dealing with that? And the last thing I kind of want to speak about, because I said mind, body, and spirit, soul, sometimes, well, most of us, let me start here. Most of us were raised with some type of indoctrination, when it comes to religion and other things. And a lot of times, some of the references we pull from our own lives and from other people's stories have to do with some of the passages and things that they've read in relation to their book of choice. I.e., the example of, the herbs and all the creeping things in the Bible or what have you. So, dietary laws and things like that. So, a lot of times the people who are going through health crises of, chronic illness, chronic disease, chronic pain. I want to really, really talk about that one at some point. But going through these different things and having this indoctrination deep in your mind, we think we get rid of it. People get woke and they throw away all their books and they act like that stuff is not in them already, but it's in there. And you start to question yourself, your spirit, feels it's attacked, and you are sad because you don't know what's going on, and you're trying everything, and you going here and you going there. One of the things I'd like to share at some point is one of the stories I had to read in English literature class about this man who, he had all the things, but he couldn't pay for his health. When your health starts to fail, you will try anything. But the one thing I found interesting was that, people don't tie to it. What do you do, or what are the ways, or what approaches can people take to lift their spirit up when stuff happens? Because you wondering, well, why does this happen to me? Especially the religious people. Oh, I pray. I've said these words. I pray. I do all the things I'm supposed to do, and I'm still not getting better. So much of that can really make a person just quit. Remember, I was talking about how in the beginning you don't have that support. You start to listen to the doctors give you an expiration date. They telling you all the things what's wrong with you, and you starting to think these things constantly. And one of the things we know is the mind is the builder. As a man thinketh, so is he. You start telling yourself, I'm sick, I'm dying, this is happening, oh, this is bad. You get in that space, your spirit is low, and it's listening. Universe listening, gonna give you what you're asking for. There are things that I had to lay aside from my childhood, the indoctrination of being raised in, not a very religious household, but one that was big on superstitions. I'll say that. The things I had to lay aside in order to pursue the knowledge of myself to help me better understand my journey and help me better be able to deal with the things that I was going on with my own health journey and the people that I serve, I had to lay a lot of stuff aside. All the spooky stuff, I had to lay it aside. And people are struggling with that. You know, I want to be clear. I'm not in this space right now for no ego trip or anything like that. It is a gazillion people out there telling probably all the things that I'm telling. But I'm telling you like I'm telling you because I done seen some things. And too many things to just not share it. Because it is definitely a struggle walking through a health journey and not having anyone you think that truly understands. It's nothing like it. One of the things we're going to talk about too is love and chronic illness, chronic diseases, and chronic pain. What is it like to try to love somebody or be with somebody that's going through these things? We don't talk about that kind of stuff. You know, my very first teacher, my massage therapist teacher, you know, she lost her husband, you know, but it was like after that, how did she find someone to understand the things that she had been through? But she was loving on this person who had this chronic disease. She became dependent on him and he became dependent on her. And after that, how do you move forward? When somebody you love gets sick, do you stay? Do you leave? Trust me, we can talk about that as well. And there are people who can tell you great stories, and there are people who can tell you not so nice stories. Again, working in the health field for 20 plus years, working in nursing homes and hospice, I've seen people die alone. You know, and I am of the thought that nobody should die alone. I know that's probably controversial, but I just feel like you shouldn't. You know, they always tell you born alone, you die alone. You know, that's arguable, you know, but I'm not here to argue. And like I said, I'm not here in this space to act like I know all the things, because I don't. I'm still going through right now. Right now. Well, one of the things that I know is being able to step outside the box, be open-minded, look at the past, look at the present of what's been offered in these spaces as opportunities outside of traditional medicine. Because the real traditional medicine is that which we really starting to study now. Learning more about breath, learning more about our nervous system and the other systems that miraculously run our body every day that we don't give thanks for. Part of what we'll be talking about is learning to give thanks to our body as well. Most people don't know anything about their body until something go wrong with it, and then they become an expert on that thing. You know? So again, this space is one that is safe. It is here for you to use, for you to be a part of a community that is looking forward to building bridges and connections to be able to not only help ourselves, but help the people that we serve. And maybe just better understand them just a little bit. Because, you know, at some point we all deal with some type of bump on the road in our health journey. So with that being said, I thank you again for joining me tonight to talk about the things that the Healing Chambers will be bringing to you in the next few weeks, most high willing. Again, you can email us at MaWu Lisa Temple at gmail.com or hit us in a DM at Instagram. The Instagram at MaWu Lisa Temple 1. And also don't forget about the volunteer opportunity. And there will be some other things that we are going to be talking about moving forward, some in-person events that will be some local here in New York and some moving down towards the South. So if you're interested in that, you can also reach out to us and tell us to keep you in the loop about those upcoming events as well. So my name is Ru. Welcome to the Healing Chambers, and I look forward to not only sharing with you, but hearing your stories about your healing journey. So until next time, thank you so much. Peace to you all. Thank you to Knowledge Born a Lot and Do the Knowledge Radio. We are excited to be here on this platform sharing this very worthy work. So thank you very much. Have a great night.
Everything's a vibe. Like, this is science. Everything's got its own frequency. We know that energy is neither created or destroyed, it's merely transferred or transformed. When we speak in energy. I don't even think people pay attention half the time in conversation when I say, I feel you, I feel you, I feel you.
You said I read your mind the other day, but baby, we are just connected deeply in another way. That telepathy connection, energy that's manifested through that melanin, electric currents traveling kinetic. What you thinking? But my mama calling me coincidence, no higher common sense, a calling ESP. We are magic while this world's unraveling. 5G cannot limit our abilities from traveling. See, I'm on another level, dirty digging, homie, get the shovel. I'm a rebel in this motherfucker, dancing with these demons. Got them screaming, this world is planting fear inside us. Clearly I'm just over all the brainwashing. Time to wash your brain of all the pain, of all the stress, all the lies you told yourself. Open your eyes and realize you're a diamond in the rock. Don't let them tell you what you're not. It's time to show the world all this magic that we got with telepathy.
So hear me clearly. For me, language is liberation. The words that we have, they define and describe the very things that free our mind, but only when we choose with intention and pay attention to the frequency of the words that we use to construct our realities. Who do you say that you are? I am. I am. Those two words alone are the very beginning to a powerful sequence of awakening yourself to who and all that you are, have been, and will be. We talk in frequency.
Focus your energy. Mental telepathy. Clouded visions, poison minds, can't see clear enough. The world full of interference, so God ain't hearing us. My spouse miles away, can't even take a walk in public. Coronavirus got us locked away like lab subjects. Close your eyes and you can feel the pain, we all connected. Empath, so I sense when every soul's ejected. A mystic, magical, way beyond simplistic. 5G blocking my chi, keeping our signals twisted. Communicate with my mind, mental telepathy. Into nature, so we speak on different frequencies. My third, I watch, the other two never truly see. The world is an illusion shrouded in secrecy. A king by birthright, a god at first sight. Divine shine bright, blind the wicked at first light. Open your heart chakra and let these words shock you. We telepathic, use your magic like a witch doctor. Meditation. Focus your energy.
Kemetic or ancient Egyptian words of power that speaks to the soul. I command your soul to listen. Nukta Cha's own mesura aritun ak em ta tema'u. Nukta chaz un mesura aritun ak em ta tema'u. Nukta chaz un mesura aritun ak em ta tema'u. Nukta chaz un mesura aritun ak em ta tema'u.